Hello. Yes. So good morning, everyone. So welcome you all to this faculty development program. So as you know, from the Department of Medical Education, we are conducting a series of faculty development programs, mainly to upskill our faculty regarding the how they teach the students. Now, in that series, we are having this faculty development program. So I welcome you all from the Department of Medical Education. We have got very interesting topics. Like the already in your revision basic course workshop and other places, you could have heard the 5 roles of Indian medical graduate. So, like in a chemical formula, our dean sir will be saying C2L2P. So he should be a clinician, he should be a communicator, he should be a lifelong learner, and he should be a leader. So 1L stands for leader. So because we are growing in the clinical field where we need to work in a team, so you should be able to gel in with your team members, and you should have these leadership abilities. And as a teacher, once we acquire these leadership abilities, you should teach your students how to be a member of a team, how to be a leader. So all these things will be discussed by our first speaker for today. I welcome him. So briefly about, he is Dr. Venkata Venugopal Raju. Now currently he is academic vice principal and professor and head of the Department of Physiology in Ashram, Eluru. So he has done his MD Physiology in Andhra Medical College, Vizag. So he was topper in the university at that time. And he has done his MBBS 94 to 99 in Narayana Medical College. He has 15 years teaching experience, and he has got 25 scientific presentations to his credit. And twice he was given the Best Speaker Award and a gold medal at AP State Medical Education Conference. And the scientific papers also has published about 23. So he is the editorial board member for the Journal of Dr. NTR UHS, and he is member board of studies in our NTR UHS. And he has finished his advanced course in medical education in St. John's Medical College. He is a PhD guide recognized by NTR UHS. He is associate editor of MedPulse, International Journal of Physiology. And he has contributed to several textbooks as reviewer, mainly the Lippincott Illustrated Reviews and Basics of Medical Physiology. And of course, he is a life member of PSI, IMA, APMA, IOH. So I welcome Dr. Venugopal Raju, so to give his lecture on the leadership, academic leadership. Welcome, sir. And before I give the mic to sir, see, because all our learned people, I request all of you to switch off your phones, because it's a Monday, everyone will be busy, but this is a faculty development program which has arranged for us. So please keep your phones in silent mode. Between the two lectures, you can answer the calls. Thank you. Welcome, sir.
Good morning to one and all. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful introduction. Okay, is it audible to everyone now? As sir told, we are into the new generation of medical education with CBME, which came with the COVID. So it is 3 years old child with COVID. To make it successful and to make this education in India successful, we need leaders. Do you accept that? Do we need leaders in academic field? So my role is to present you briefly on what are the levels of leadership, so that it is possible to advance in step-by-step manner, so that we can achieve the pinnacle of leadership in academics, so that we can deal our students very better with the CBME. Meanwhile, I'll ask all the participants to go for one self-assessment. I think our office people will give assessment form. This will be completely by yourself. You just fill the form on the left-hand side. After the session, you can fill the form again on the right-hand side. Both will have the same questions. and you can compare your component before and after the session. And the template will be with you so that it will be useful for further comparison. While the templates are getting distributed, I'll ask some questions. You need to respond very quickly. Please fill the template on the left-hand side only.
లైవ్ ఉంది సార్. మీకు కూడా లింక్ పంపించాను. మీకు కావాలంటే మీ గ్రూప్ లో యూట్యూబ్ లైవ్
అలానే
దాంట్లో
Okay, with that, we'll start with the session. So my objective for today's session is two objectives. First objective is to define leadership. I'll take you help in defining leadership so that this is going to provide a game plan for the process of how to become a leader. Then second objective is providing a clear-cut steps in leadership. As I told, we have 5 steps. Let us go through the steps. How far we can achieve, we'll see that. So now you need to respond to this question. Are the leaders born? Yes or no? Leaders can be made, I think so. So leaders can be emerged out of the groups and individual areas. One more interactive question. Is it true? You don't have to hold a position in order to become or be a leader. It is true. So that we have seen the possibilities in such a way. We have bad leaders who had good positions, and otherwise good leaders who had no position at all. So that we are expecting everybody to become a good leader in good position so that we can make this CBME successful over years. So with the advent of revised basic course workshop or faculty development programs, we are getting into medical education academics as well as into leadership, because leadership is a small component presented in the ADCOM module, but we need in detailed study of leadership so that we can evolve as a true leader. So as you progress, we'll know that how much he doesn't know. That is a takeaway of this slide. So as you progress and understand things, you will definitely know that how much he doesn't know. So now I need to put some keywords from the audience. What are the keywords to define leadership? Role models are very good, sir. Madam. Group dynamics possible and group personality is anything from the other teams, madam? Yes. Knowledge or competency, you need to have the competency. Other groups, madam, any other keyword? I'll give a clue, madam. Is it a destination or a process of evolving every day? It's a process of evolving every day. And we'll see the definition. So it's a process whereby an individual influences. Influence is a keyword. Once you're a leader and true leader, you can influence your team or the society or the community. So that ultimately you're all marching towards a common goal. Our common goal is CBME nowadays with the UG curriculum. In the same way, we have common goals for PG curriculum also. So as it was introduced by Dr. Mahidhar sir, we have 5 roles. Out of the 5 roles in the outcome, in the domains, 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐭𝐚 means or 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐭 means knowledge, as somebody said, knowledge, skills, attitude, communication. In the attitude components and outcome module of NMC, we have 5 or 6 lines of leadership, but we need to dig deep into the competencies of leadership so that we can be a role model, like as sir told from the group 1. So this is one line given in a broad competence in the outcome module under 3.2. Sub competencies are 3.2.1 to 6 or 6 competencies are there. Then as you said, it is a continuous process of evolving every day throughout your career. Throughout your career is very long in our medical education, it goes up to 70 plus years. So it is a verb, not a noun, leadership. So to introduce the 5 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up to 3, we can move easily a bit, is possible, but 4 and 5, we need to practice every dimension of leadership, then only we can move to the level 5. I'll introduce all the levels first, then I'll take 2 slides on each level, and then I conclude. So first level is leadership position or position. One example I have taken here is HOD, because it is routine interaction with our HODs, or many of you are HODs also for your departments. So it is position means we have power. Not only in academic leadership, any other leadership will have power with the positions. So people follow you because they have to follow you. For example, you are the HOD of the department. Your assistant professor have to follow you because there is no other way. Because that power has given by the position or the post. I'll give one more example here. Coordinator medical education, or coordinator any team, coordinator NSS units of a college, a coordinator for health education systems. Then we have medical superintendent, we have to follow as a personality working with the hospital, teaching hospital. Then you have principals and any higher positions. There will be many examples for it. It can be health minister, it can be DME, it can be vice chancellor. These are all positions at our levels. But level 2 means to introduce where we'll getting permitted to develop a relationship with the team members. Okay. I think you know the difference between team and group. Group is only collection of individuals, like this is group. Team means where they have a common goal, they have a common interest rather than independent goals. So once you start developing relationships, then you're at level 2 of leadership. So I will discuss in detail in the slides to come. People will follow you because they want to follow you. It is not by the position you have. They will follow you because of the respect and relationship you have towards the person in the group. Then the results, you as a leader with the team members and members of the team, you are achieving something for the department or for the organization, for the medical education as a whole. So that they will follow you because what you have done to the department, to the institute, to the organization, to the field itself. Then level 4, where you are concentrating to develop a leaders, you are developing people around you. All your team members will be a leader in one dimension. You are making the people to become leaders and to support your team. So people follow you because what you have done to them. For example, you have trained a faculty member to emerge into a level of status of research where he can publish independently without support of the mentor and all. If you help them achieve something academically, that means you are helping them academically to grow and grow as a leader so that he can lead the upcoming new faculty into the department. That is level 4. Then level 5 is pinnacle, the peak of leadership. This will take a lot of time, efforts, talent, and so on. That I will explain in detail after basic introduction of the levels. So it is the respect that you earned out of your group and institution, department. People will follow you because who you are and what you represent. So you are representing education as a whole, you are representing quality, you are representing ethics, you are representing teamwork. Then we'll go back to position 1 in detail. As I said, level 1, a position is the lowest level of leadership. That is entry level. Even we have seen some examples, they enter as HOD, that is level 1 leadership, and they remain as HOD in terms of leadership, not in terms of promotions and all. So that they don't try to build relationship, they will end up as with the position only. They hold position very tightly rather than relationships and all. So it's a job title, people may follow you because the repetition again, they have to follow. Nothing wrong with the positions, you can have the position, but how you use that position, is it to make up and emerge to the next level and next level, that is what is intended rather than using that position to make the people follow. So I think you have had a lot of debate and discussion over social media and other academic platforms, the difference between boss and leader. So boss is never a leader, have subordinates, never the team members. Anyone can be appointed to a position. For example, I own an institute. Let us assume that I own an institute which teaches medical education and all. Then I can appoint my brother-in-law as managing director. Once I appoint my brother-in-law as managing director, he has to prove he wants to continue as a boss, as a manager, or he wants to evolve into a leader where he can empower others in the leadership. So we have a debate between management and leadership also. Management is doing things right, whereas leadership is doing right things. A little bit of difference, words magic on that way, this way. So I'll repeat, management is doing things right. Leadership is doing right things only. Okay. If you take it in local language, it is much easier to differentiate between these two terms. Management is nirvahana, leadership is nayakatvam. So that we have a gross difference between nirvahana, nirvahakudu when compared to nayakudu and nayakatvam. So we need to be on the side of leadership, not simply managing things and managing departments. So this is what I said. Management is doing things right. Leadership is doing right things. Now we'll go to the level 2 again. So when you want to go to the level 2, for example, assume yourself as HOD of a department. Some of them may be HODs here and some of them may be future HODs in your departments in the college. Then you need to like the people to lead them. You can like the people without leading them, but if you want to lead the people, you need to like them by their possibilities. Let us see details. So if you're having high end of knowledge, degrees in your science and specialty, but nobody will cares on it. Only when you care for them, then only they will care for you, how much you know, your knowledge is. Then assume yourself as a leader at your level of, in the current level at your institute or at your department. Your follower or your team member will ask you 3 questions. If it is yes on your side, you are on level 2. Let us check as a self-assessment mode. So I'll give you the question. Let us take that I'm asking on behalf of your team member or your follower. If it is yes for everything, you're on team level 2 and you can progress level 3 or level 4 easily. Do you care for me as your team member, as your department member? That means you have the compassion towards your team and team members. The next question is, can you help me as a leader? When you are helping me in research publications or something else in the academics or dynamics or any other dimension, that means you have the competency. When you are competent, only you can help me. For example, being a HOD, you doesn't know how to publish. Somehow you become into that position and chair. Then it will be difficult task for all your followers or the team members or the department faculty to get into that slot again. That is the reason why you need to have the competence to get into that position. So that will be the level of leadership and evolving into relationships. Then third question your followers will ask you is, can I trust you? This is the biggest thing. If it is yes, that means you have character. You're always maintaining that confidentiality with each and every person to nurture the team and to nurture the department and organization. So one more component on the permission. Permission means you're taking consent or permission towards relationship. But if you want to build relationship, it should not be like one-side love. We need to take proper permission. If he's not allowing us to help, no, it is no way possible to help him. So that we need to permit, we need to create that environment so that we are allowed to build up a relationship, rather than, because it is not a forceful item to get into. People follow you because they want to follow you, because you are treating them. You are treating them as individuals who have value. If you give that value, they will definitely give you back that respect and relationship with you. For example, I'll quote one example from the paramedics because I have seen some disputes between team members because they have 2 degrees in physiology anatomy. One is from an MD stream, one is from PhD stream. If, as a team member, as a leader, if you can respect them equally, because they are, of course, they are actually positioned in the same position, assistant professor by NMC, then we have to accept them as they are and allow them to be with the team. Then it is possible to build a positive teams around you. Then you can develop influence with them, you will develop trust, relationship. Then environment becomes positive, as I said. Irrespective of their different levels of attitudes, degrees, level of knowledge, understanding, skill work, you need to blend them into one team and one department. Level 3, where you are giving some results to the department, organization, institute, and to the field. So leader gains influence and credibility because you have shown some result to the management, to the academic heads. Then where you are leading by example, that means you are presenting paper as a HOD, not for promotion. You are already promoted to higher level in the department. You are presenting as a competent authority in the research. You are presenting every year or every 2 years one paper at least as a HOD. Then you are leading by example rather than pushing everybody in the department to get into research field and get published in the Scopus and PubMed. You publish it first of all. Once you pass the test, then you ask others to get through the same test. Then you will attract what you are and who you are, not who you, what you want. For example, you are level 3 leader, where with all these possibilities and dimensions, you can attract level 3, level 2, level 1. If you are level 3 and not growing to the level 4 and 5, you cannot attract a person into the department who is having capacity of level 4. If it cannot be accommodated, you will get confrontation all the time. So that you need to evolve very fast to the level 4, level 5. Then you can easily accommodate level 4, level 5 leaders with you as a team and team member. Then to continue with the level 3, people begin to follow you because what we have done to the department and organization. That is what we are. So then by results, by doing successful publications in the department as HOD, as leadership, and doing some workshops in the department, CMEs in the department, the momentum kicks in. Everybody likes to suggest something, like to give some proposals, ideas, ideology, encourage them and allow them to do it in a work for a next workshop or next CME, next publication. Then, of course, nobody is perfect. Some negatives will be there with every person. You take the positive all the time so that nothing hurts when you are winning. Winning as a team, nothing hurts. Some negative will be always there with us, with everybody. Nobody is so perfect. To conclude, level 3 of leadership, leaders can tackle tough problems when compared to level 2 and face hard issues or thorny issues. Two things can happen at this level. When you're dealing tough issues and tackling tough scenarios, can make the difficult decisions that will make a difference for the team and to the department and organization. Then one more thing is you can take your people to the another level of effectiveness or efficiency. If you are a level 3 leader, you can definitely take the team members every year to the next level of the leadership ladder. Then to introduce level 4 again of leadership, people development, you need to empower all the team members to your level. You need to put all your efforts so that everybody will grow to your level, rather than putting it into a selfish dimension that they should not know this component, they should not know this journal. I will only publish this pathway. So open it. When you share and add value to the people, you'll automatically become a brand. I think in one of the movies, Mahesh Babu will tell this dialogue. Surya ante oka manishi kaadu brand. A movie and chapkaltara. Businessman. Very good, sir. So that you be the brand by adding values and by doing something to them personally in terms of achieving academic goals. Leaders become great not because of their power, because of their ability to empower others. That is adding value. So level 4 leaders reproduce themselves. You can see for years, it will take long time. It is not 2 years or 1 year you can make everybody to your level of 4. It will take 5 to 10 years to make the team to the level 4 as a unit, as a department, as an organization. So people development wins championships, like a successful conference organized in the institute. Backbone is your department, with collaboration of all the other departments, management, administration. So you're winning a championship and winning titles for the institute and organization. So the teamwork goes to very high level because of the good relationship, and every member and everyone is loyal to the institute and the department. Then second thing possible is performance increases because there are more leaders. Everybody can take care of one dimension of departmental progress and success. So level 4 leader is going to change the lives of the people or the team members who are in the team, or I can say those who are I'm leading. So people follow you because what you have done them personally to achieve their personal goals in academics and empowering them to the higher level of the leadership. So I have seen this example personally. When you help them and empower them in medical education or in research work, they will be lifelong friends for us. Wherever they are in the next 10 years in the different institutes, I have appreciated personally there are 4 or 5 members with whom I am at level 4 of leadership. I feel strongly because one is in 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐭𝐚, one is in NRA 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐭𝐭, one is in Narayana Medical College. They are all once worked with me and we are worked together as a team, and we have seen winning something for the institute when we are working for 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐭𝐚 Medical College 10 years back. So it is all possible. Once you build up the teams, you can spread into different levels of the organization and different parts of the state, but you can maintain that relationship lifelong only when you help them evolve academically and become leaders. Level 5 is the pinnacle, the highest and most difficult level because of the competencies required on this. Up to this level 4, it is easy to achieve. But level 5, requires not only the skill and intentions and hard work, we need a lot of talent. By the time when somebody goes to level 4 in a department or in an institute, you will identify your weakness and weak points also. Then it is time to nurture yourself and fill those gaps. That gap can be in communication skill, in the talent, or in the emerging side of the medicine, medical education. You do that kind of degrees. For example, you're in medical education. You need to do the advanced course in medical education, ACME. If you are somebody who is having intentions to go much further, you need to do the FIMER and all other kind of workshops or the degrees. Then you have to show your intentions to grow in the medical education by getting into your presence in every workshop that is conducted at the state level, national level. You have to give your time in such a way that you can attend those conferences other than your specialty conferences. Your specialty, every member of the department is going there. But if you go and expand your dimension, not only your specialty, get into other specialties like medical education, Indian Association of Occupational Health, Environmental Medicine, that will imbibe every specialty people to get into. So they develop people to become level 4. It is most difficult task. Making them to evolve to the next level is a difficult task. Rather than making them to follow me is easy task. They will follow me because I do some help in the academic empowerment. They will follow me, but making them to a next level leader and empowering them to the level 4 is a difficult task. Level 5 leaders will build level 5 institutions. So if you have more level 5 leaders, definitely your institute and the institute where I am working will become definitely at one part of the time a level 5 topmost institute. So the leader will create opportunities. Level 5 leader who is at the pinnacle will always create opportunities that others don't provide. So then they create legacy. They'll make an impact in the department. After you work for 10 years in such a department and you leave for a higher position, higher institute, you went for somewhere in the state and other places of the country. Even then, your impact and shadow is always there with the department because you made a mark of academic growth in that department. Ultimately, people follow you because who you are and what you represent. Then this level 5 leadership, if you are at level 5, leadership gains positive reputation and leaders often transcend their position. Transcend means they are going beyond the limitation. They're pushing the limitations and the boundaries of your position and you're transcending beyond your position, organization, and sometimes your field also. For example, APJ Abdul Kalam. He is a rocket scientist. Because of his reputation and all, he transcended his position in the ISRO. He went up to president of the country. So that there is completely different field to get into. So that it is possible to transcend a position, department, organization, field. You can push all the boundaries and you can get into that level. That is what is level 5 or pinnacle level of leadership. To conclude my session, I'll put some insights of overall all the steps where we have to practice all these insights so that we'll be on a correct line of leadership. Number 1 is you can move up a level, but you never leave the previous one behind. For example, take the first MBBS student. He has earned all the subject knowledge, skills, and attitude in the first MBBS with physiology, anatomy, biochemistry. Then he has been progressed with the entire UHS exams to the level 2. Can he leave the physiology there? It is foolishness to leave physiology and biochemistry and anatomy to be a successful member of the pharmacology team or to successful person to achieve all the competencies of pharmacology. We need to have physiology competencies also. In the same way, when you go to the 5th year of MBBS, we need to have all the anatomy, physiology, pharmacology, pathology, all the levels must be integrated into one and kept within you. Then only you will enjoy the level 5. In the same way, when you are at level 4, you need to have all the competencies of leader, level 1, level 2, level 3 with you. You can't leave that because I am already proven level 5. Then you are not on the same level with every person. For example, you are leading very well, your team is very good. As a department, you are heading the department, you are leading the department. Suddenly a new assistant professor joins the department. Then what is your level of leadership with that new assistant professor? That is level 1. He will see only your position because he has not seen any of your leadership qualities. He has not seen any of your support, relationship. That is fresh again. That means you have to start with level 1, level 2, level 3, again with that person. So that you might be at level 4 with somebody, maybe at level 1 with someone. It is not uniformly same with all the persons. That means you have to earn that each level with each person to prove that a level 4 or level 5 leader. So it is a long process. Earning every level in leadership takes much of time. And time you have to spend and in empowering others to make them a proper leader. It's a long process, and this is what is known as law of process, which requires 2, vision and culture. So everybody has to have that vision of going into the higher level of leadership and academic growth. But we need to have the culture. Culture means we have 2 possibilities, work culture and biometric culture. This is what was quoted at St. John's Medical College during ACME course when I was attending that St. John's Medical College, Bangalore. The director of that medical education said, culture means it is work and better to go to the next level. In some points of evolution of the institute, they may be focusing on biometric. For example, even NMC is asking us to put other analytical biometrics or EBAS or some new system is coming. If it is so much of biometric system, then the people will do what is the least they can do, they'll do. Biometric for Tamil, morning, evening, that is only the major criteria to get into the next level. Biometric, 2 publications, 1 BCBR, 1 BCW, that's it. But that is not required for leadership. If it is work culture is promoted as a leader from the department or from the organization, everyone will do the best they can do. You are going to do your best. So in addition to the vision, we need to have the culture such a way that sometimes culture is more important than vision. If you have that working culture, you may go across the point of what you see yourself in future, that is vision. You can cross that dimension. Then higher you go, the easier it's to lead. For example, you're level 4 leader in the department. It is easy to lead because they're all following by themselves. No need to use that word, I'm the HOD, you need to follow me. This is my order. That words will never come if you're level 4 leader. They will automatically follow because you're making them to be level 3 and level 4. You're empowering them, you're helping them in every dimension. Then they will automatically follow you and it will be a good team. The higher you go, more time and commitment is required. Of course, level 5 leadership means it is lifetime achievement. It is not 10 years or 20 years. It may take more than that also. Level 4 you can achieve up to that as HOD, having a personality in multi dimensions of the academics you can achieve. At level 5, you need to add that talent in addition to the hard work. And we need to have that commitment also. So, and as I said, moving up levels occurs very slowly. It is not over a day or over a week or over 1 year of time. But if you do one unethical thing with that member of the team, you'll be 0 again. You'll come back to the level 1. So that it is very much happens quickly to level 4 to 1 again because of that one unethical thing that leaders commits in that team. The higher you go, the greater the returns. If you grow and evolve with all your intentions and desire towards 4 and 5 level of leadership, automatically returns in terms of rewards, in terms of respect, in terms of finances, everything will come automatically as you grow in the leadership level. No need to worry on that. Moving up further up, as I said, it requires growth in all the dimensions. Not only the department and your specialty. You need to grow in medical education. You need to grow up in skills simulation. And you need to grow up in the other activities like outcome competencies, how to teach and assess outcome. That is a difficult task. You can teach knowledge, you can teach skill, because we are doing it for years and centuries in medical education, but we are not teaching properly. That is what NMC is feeling. That is the reason why we have outcome module into force. But still we are learning to present outcome modules and attitude teaching better and better.
more difficult to teaching outcome is assessing attitude of some student is more difficult nowadays because we have not passed through that competencies as a UG student. So not climbing the levels. For example, you're at a position as a professorship or the second professor, first professor or the HOD. If you're not climbing in your dimensions of leadership as well as in academics, it is a suffocation for others also. For example, you're not publishing anything once you become HOD. You are not into medical education. You're not entering into skills and simulation. That means you can't encourage your people and your team. They can't evolve into 3 and 4. That means it will act as a lid. You take a big jar, glass jar. On the top of the glass jar, will have a lid. You'll become the lid. That means others can't go beyond the lid. As a leader, you have to elevate your level every year so that the lid height will be increased so that leaders within your team members can also grow with you. If you stop growing and evolving, it is difficult for others in the team as well as it is a great suffocation if somebody is intent to grow beyond that level. When you change positions and organizations, you seldom stay at the same level. For example, I have worked with some institute for 10 years. I have grown up to the level 4 leadership in that institutes in terms of academics and other dimensions. Suddenly I have shifted to a new institute, a new organization, and you'll come back to level 1 again because the team changes. Everybody will look you with the position as academic principal or somebody. Then they have to start you level 2, that is taking relationship, growing slowly with all the people again. That means it is the job on the head. We have to do it again from level 1 to level 4 with the new team, new organization, new department. But I think to get disgraced, once you have the ability to grow and go from level 1 to level 4, you know that ability, you can do it again. It will take some time, but this time you can do it better and better. You'll do faster also because once you have done the growth and you have seen that transition from level 1 to level 4 in one institute, again you have to start, but nothing to get disgraced. You can do it again because you know the skill of doing that again and again. You cannot climb the levels alone. This is the key point. When you're in the medical education team, you can't run a revised basic course workshop as one member of the MU coordinator convener. We need a team. We need to grow as teams. We need to promote each and everyone. We need to encourage every member in the team. That can be medical education, that can be skills lab, simulation lab, or department of your specialty. You need to grow as a team. Then only you can grow and reach the level of 4 and 5. So leadership is accepting people where they are and then taking them somewhere in the next level, So these are the questions you can ask yourself now. What level you are on with most of your people? Because it is not possible to become at level 4 with every person in the department, every person in the institute. You can check yourself prominently. Some faces will come into your mind. Then at what level you are? 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we have the capacity? Everybody has the capacity, but only thing that makes a big difference is the desire. Are you having that desire to evolve into the next level? That can be 4 or 5. To conclude the session, as I said in the beginning, you need to add value to every member in the team, every member in the institute. Then only you'll become the brand and you'll become the level 5 leader. So to conclude, previously I used to listen when I started my journey as assistant professor. I used to say that, and I used to listen to most of the sentences. Institute is bigger than individuals. Institute is very big. Even the one person goes and one person comes, institute is unshaken. It will go and move forward. But if the leadership lessons I have accepted to this Emerson that even sometimes if you are a level 5 leader, institute will become a big shadow of yourself or a leader or somebody who has achieved all those things. So that every great institution is a lengthened shadow of a leader. So if you're a leader, your institute is nothing but a lengthened big shadow of a small object, a small person leader who is qualified to level 5. So I would like to acknowledge Dr. S.P. Rao Garu, Dean, Narayana Medical College, for giving me this opportunity to present my topic of leadership. here in medical education platform or faculty development program. I also thank Dr. Mahidhar sir, coordinator MU Narayana Medical College, and Dr. Anand Reddy, professor of psychiatry, who is very close to me when we used to work with 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐭𝐚𝐜 Medical College. We have published, even though our departments are so apart, physiology and psychiatry, we have published 10 papers together. That means that is where we encouraged each other. It is very difficult. When I sat with Anand Reddy for the first time, he never accepted me to sit with him because he is a clinician, he is a psychiatrist, he is the best outgoing student from Andhra Medical College. I am just an average student in his eyes at that point of time. Then I went to him, his department through an official letter from the principal sir to start some research project in psychiatry. Then I sat with him for 2 months. Then he accepted my presence there. Then we started discussing in papers because I have already done a paper with every member in the department. I want to go out of the department at that point of time as associate professor physiology at 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐭𝐚𝐜 Medical College. Then he is assistant professor with me. So we have worked a lot. Then we became friends. That relationship was accepted by him, so that then he realized that having with him will add value to him, and that will add value to me also, because I'm not a clinician. I don't have all the psychiatry skills to conduct internet addiction among medical students. We have conducted in 2 medical colleges, in Guntur Medical College and 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐭𝐚𝐜 Medical College at that point of time. That was a great paper in my 23 list of publications that was published in the D.Y. Patil University, Pune, Mumbai. So that it is all possible to visualize and to do that, accepting friends from other departments. You're doing well with your department in terms of your research, but you cross the departmental barriers. That is what is leader will transcend the departments. You go across the boundaries of the department, sometimes go across the boundary of the institute, so that make a paper on medical education or your specialty paper in your a sample from in your institute, a sample from other nearby medical college. That will make you a bigger person and bigger perspective in terms of medical education. My reference is mostly from my advanced course from the Nodal Center, Bangalore, St. John's Medical College, and John C. Max. That was one of the leading book in the US in terms of the sales. 1 million copies sold, and the best title by Times Magazine, in the list of the Times Magazine also. So that is the book named as 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. That those laws we can't disprove and we can't disagree on that. Then that is very big book. I can't read so much on that. But one more title written by John C. Maxwell is 5 Levels of Leadership. That is the backbone of my presentation today. That is the backbone of presentation in St. John's Medical College by the ACME team also. 5 Levels of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. Thank you very much. For further information, I'm always available with my mail ID. Is there anything from you to suggest on to the session, to add on to the session? Now I request to take 2 more minutes to complete the right-hand side of the same template after this brief session on leadership. Of course, it is a tough time to evolve into each level, but it is your intention, your desire towards medical education and academics and leadership is the key to progress yourself as the team member for medical education. So we need leaders to run the CBME successfully, effectively. If you are a good leader at NMC, Narayana Medical College, of course you are contributing to the building of the nation, because NMC or ashram, we are part of country. If you can contribute well to the NMC or ashram, that means you are contributing to the building of the nation. That is what recently UGC panel discussion, national level discussion said, that when you are contributing effectively to your job, means you are contributing to the growth of the nation. By adding value to your student and making him a better Indian medical graduate with the 5 roles which he is capable. Now I'd like to request Dr. Mahidhar sir to take over on the session. If it is any interaction is possible,
Write that and submit to us.
they will be keeping with them to see the self-assessment and is there any impact on them of this 45-minute session. That will be with them. No need to collect.
Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Sir, stay back, sir. Anything you want to clarify from sir regarding leadership skills? So anyone, any doubts or anything you need to clarify? Okay. So you can add also anything. Yes, sir. Sir, mic ఇవ్వండి.
Yes, sir.
To do.
Once you're a professor in the departments means, or I am a professor in the departments means, I'm at the level of leadership. I need to nurture all the faculty irrespective of their differences in terms of the degree, in terms of the gender, in terms of their amount of knowledge, in terms of their intentions, in terms of their desires to grow. Somebody is not at all interested to grow at all. He will say that I'll hire somebody to write my paper. That kind of person will also be there with the department. Somebody will be there always with you by asking you to suggest some topics for dissertation or some topics for a research paper. So we need to be with everyone in his own way, in his own dimension. We need to encourage the possibilities. We need to set an example. For example, one person is doing active research and is getting some outcomes in terms of good publications. We need to code him to stimulate others also. Then in terms of knowledge, in terms of dimensions of growth, as a professor, we need to be very strong, competent in our specialty. That is first, because of our degree, we are competent enough to deal our science and specialty. But we need to put a full, complete hand into the medical education department as a resource person. If it is possible with the unit, we need to be a part of revised basic course education as an instructor, if it is possible, as a professor. If you are a professor and putting your hand, and every involvement is there completely into medical education, skills, simulation, and into other dimensions. For example, if you take a family adaptation program in community medicine, if the professor is involved completely, all the assistant professors and associates will get involved, and they will walk in the same line of the professor. If professor is not involved, saying that, okay, associate, you take care of that, this is headache, a new problem, new program given by the NMC, I am not interested at this level, then it is a dissociation. You need to associate with every program that is given by the NMC with a positive way. I have seen some of the professors arguing in the core committees and curriculum committee. They are saying that NMC has reduced the course from 1.5 years to 1 year, and in first year, sometimes a compression is also there in the second year. Then we need to accept the reality, because NMC has taken this step by taking inputs from the 15 contributors of the CBME, starting with Avinash Supe to Krishna Shashadri. 15 members are there. They are stalwarts in medical education. We need to accept that change, because you are all very good playing the game for 1.5 years. That is first year anatomy and physiology. But suddenly a 2020 match comes into your game. With the COVID and all, now course is reduced. It is almost like a 2020 match. If you are good enough in the skill in terms of bowling and batting,
You can also play a 20-20 match whenever it is required, but you need to take care of the schedule very closely, observe carefully, then you can play the match successfully. Otherwise, you will be out of the game. For example, somebody who is playing only test match, not into the one-day match and not into the 20-20 match, he'll be never be in the field. Slowly he will disappear. So that you need to be the great player in all the dimensions and directions given by NMC. Accept the change. Only thing is we need to change the way you look into the things. Change the way you look into the things. Then the things you change, the things you look will change. So that we choose a vidhanalone, it is the key. If you can see with the new intentions, with the new eyes, with the new attitude, that program will look very positive. Even though it is positive, not interested on the candidate, on the faculty member, you have to accept it, because NMC is not going to leave you, because we have to accept every policy of NMC, because we are affiliated to NMC and university. We have to accept that. We have to put our hands in all the dimensions of academics. As I said, department specialty, medical education, skills, simulation, and a bit of extracurricular activity in terms of NSS, NCC, and so on. The sports also you need to contribute. If you are standing there with the students in the sports at some part of the month or some part of the year, then they will also get encouraged by your presence in the sports or by your presence in the indoor games, outdoor games, skills. So then, as sir told, you'll become a role model. Once you are a role model, everybody will follow you. During our times, everybody will accept that there are many role models to follow. Without outcome, we used to get some positive attitudes from our teachers. Like we have I.V. Rao Garu from Narayana Medical College. That is all hidden curriculum we used to learn. Our colleague will open up the hidden curriculum and he will deal on that component. Now it is hidden curriculum of that outcome and attitude, leadership, everything came into curriculum. But the curriculum, one complement that one small booklet and outcome is not sufficient for us. We need to explore our dimension by practicing, going through various books on outcome, attitude. Our leadership, we have hundreds of books. We have a good number of books published recently by the publishers like Humanities in Medical Education. A small booklet is given by one of the local publishers. We can get into that, because even though it is not recommended, you have to anticipate the possibilities. You need to get into that. When we entered medical education 2010, the regional center is Secunderabad Gandhi Medical College. It is not mandatory for promotion, basic course workshop. We anticipated a new thing. We anticipated that this dimension is also required for growth, especially in the private, when you are working for private medical college. We need to be always having grip in all the dimensions. Government medical college, of course, the scenario is different. I am not commenting on them, but it will go on. But private medical college, we need to prove every day with every batch. For example, let me take first MBBS batch. I have to prove every year with every batch of students so that I'm a good teacher. To do that, I have to expand my dimension, expand my caliber in terms of competency, in terms of leadership, in terms of skills as well as. So this is a continuous process of expanding yourself, so that it is your role also, because it's a continuous process to evolve to the level 5, which may take a lifetime. I assume at least everybody can achieve that. Level 4 is possible by empowering others. Level 5, of course, pinnacle, we need a talent. We need to cover up all our negatives. We need to progress with the friends in the teams so that it is possible. Is anything to be specific, sir, other than this? Yes, thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I accept that we have to teach the students about AdCom, by the book, and then everything. But more than that, I think we as teachers and doctors, we have to behave and we have to have the attitude, and we have to show it practically every day to the students, how we are dealing with them, how we are dealing with other people. So by looking at us, they'll automatically learn it. But I don't deny that there should be a textbook, shouldn't be a textbook teaching and all that. But more importantly, I think that we ourselves as teachers and doctors, we should be like in our day-to-day practice, we should show them how to deal with the patient, talk with the patient, and how our attitude should be.
Exactly,
Thank you.
madam. As you said, it is leading by example. Attitude is a difficult task to teach and assess. As madam told, we need to set an example. Clinical skills you can learn by observing how your teacher is doing with the patient, communication skills, but attitude and how you dress up yourself as a teacher, as a professor. How many of us are coming with proper dress in terms of professionalism, complete apron all the days and all the programs, a complete attire of starting with the shoe and starting with the dignified dress. Sometimes a deviation is always there with our faculty also, so that it will be good example. To set an example, we need to be the first person to follow the rules. Then only our students will follow us. When we can't follow the same test, we can't ask the student to get into shoes every day. For example, it's a rainy day, he's not in the shoe. Then we must be in shoe, so that to ask him, where is your shoe? So in the same way, attitude is multidimensional. You need to do it every day, not on the day of AdCom session that you do it for 2 hours. You have to reflect that AdCom competencies, especially attitude and professionalism. That is what they see every day by observing you every day. For example, you are in a good side of the leadership. By being yourself, you can inspire many people, many students. By being yourself, simply reflecting the professionalism and attitude. If you're not on the correct side, you're unknowingly misguiding the people around you and students around you. Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, good morning. Congratulations for the presentation. I'm a professor of radiology, sir. I have 1 or 2 issues. The lecture was on development of leadership for those who hold some position where they can mold the students or the junior faculty. So the lecture was how we develop our leadership qualities, skills, have compassion, consideration, so on and so forth. One important issue, sir, we have students who are pleomorphic group of people coming from different backgrounds. For example, in radiology, we have 12 postgraduate students. If you look at these 12 students, no one student is exactly like the other students. So the entire spectrum from 1 to 12. Second year, we have 12 students. We stay with them for a period of about 3 years with us. That's number 1, sir. By the time we understand these students, their nature, we are able to gel with them. It takes a lot of effort to keep their interest in the department. By the time they reach the senior position in 2nd year, 3rd year, like that. Another important area, sir, junior faculty. See, people who do their MD join as senior residents, and then some of them go for assistant process. But for some reason, they often take this medical college as a launching pad for future improvement in their prospects, like that. And when the team keeps on changing like this, we build up a team, we have core members, SRs and assistant professors, but we are not able to hold them. This keeps on changing every few years. For example, I remember when I came in 2017-18, we had 9 SRs, sir. Then in the COVID area, it has dwindled to 2 or 3 SRs. So where the junior faculty number keeps on changing dynamically like this, the team keeps on changing. So how do you suggest, what could you suggest for a leader to look at this issue, sir?
Sir, exactly, sir. This is the issue for every department, not only for radiology. Starting from anatomy to any level, it is happening because of the pool. That is what we have in the private medical colleges. It is the dynamics are going on, rapidly changing the scenario with the faculty members. We need to accept this. Even this is happening with the government medical colleges also. With the recent transfers, every department is shaken and distorted to the level that nobody recognizes a new HOD where he is and where he is working now. Previously, we used to have Devi Madhavi Madam at Community Medicine, Andhra Medical College, to lead the Department of Medical Education also as a regional center. Now she was suddenly promoted to our Narayana Medical College, where she is simply sitting as coordinator medical education, no attachment to the regional center. Things are happening this way, sir. But we need to learn very fast because we have the capacity to build a team. We have a capacity to build a relationship. That can be done again and again, sir. We need to do it again. It is a pathetic thing to do it again, but we have the capacity. No need to get disgraced. but it will take time again, 1 or 2 years. We will build a team, then the team disappears again, suddenly new member comes into the place. We need to do it again and again, sir. Like as I said, I have to prove myself again to every fresh batch of students that I'm dealing better and giving value to them. That batch passes on to the next year, second MBBS. Then new batch comes again, a new faculty comes. So this is like a stream, and new people are coming all the time in both government and private medical colleges. The recruitments and dynamics of the change that is with our medical education and medical profession as a whole. But we need to accept this, sir. We need to develop as a leaders. We can sit together, like we can sit together with the possibilities. For example, we have a member, for example, this is my department of radiology or anatomy, and one member is decided to go. If it is possible, I'll counsel him, sir, to not to leave. What is the advantage with the private and government? Because this is what I faced recently. Somebody applied for a government post who is already associate next year becoming professor of physiology. He wants to go because his intention is to have some secure job and all. I have counseled for half an hour. In that case, I'm successful, but I'm not successful with every candidate. I said you're going to become a professor next year. The private medical college, the field is expanding now with 250 batch every medical college, so that we have more demand. Your position will be taken care within 1 year, rather than going for government and spending again 10 years. And the dilemma of promotion is nobody knows it, where you go. At least in a private medical college, you can continue if you want to continue with that institute. There is no issue from the management. Will never create some issues on the faculty usually, unless otherwise on the wrong side. So that he accepted my counseling in such a way that he has seen the positives of the private management. That means we are expanding, we have the good craze, finances will be taken care. If not this institute, you can go with the other institute, but don't go to the government where we have that again start with assistant professor. That is the comparison I have done. Then in the same way, we can compare, we can settle this candidate with the administrative authorities, like we can carry this to the administrative authorities like Dean sir and all. What are the possibilities we can settle, not always with the money. Sometimes some facility, because he is competent authority in our department, we don't want to lose it from the team, valuable team member from my department. It is my responsibility to deal with the dean sir or the management in such a way that I'll make some things possible for him as much I can do as a leader, as a HOD, so that I will try and put into my line of leader of team game. If it is possible, we can continue. If it is not possible, a new member comes, we have to take it and accept it, sir. It is inevitable, sir, but we need to accept and we need to do something what we can do in terms of the candidate and asking him for a counseling session. That is, what are the positives and comparing with other college and our college. Then we can also do with the management and this candidate by settling and negotiating things in such a way that providing some facility for the candidate who is very good in the team. For example, medical education skills lab or department as a whole is leading the department very good in his dimension. Then we can sit together to solve some extent. It is not always possible with every candidate we can solve the issue, but we can put our efforts, sir. That is what I feel and what I experienced, where I am successful in some areas and not successful in convincing some candidate also. But I have to, and as a team, we have to move ahead and we have to work with the available team members with the different degrees, different cadres. It is always possible. We need to go with them. Thank you, sir. Any other query from the group?
Okay. So, now I request our Dean SP Rao sir to give his insights on today's topic, academic leadership.
Good morning to all of you. First, let me thank Dr. Venkat. I don't know whether to call him as Venkat or Venu. It's excellent. He's able to deal with the topic in such a way that everybody can understand. To me, it looks that we are good managers, but we are not good leaders. We are able to manage the things. Manage the things in the sense, NMC has given some curriculum. We have to implement it. So we are implementing it, but we are unable to come out of that managerial ones to a leader. So he has nicely elaborated all the 5 stages of evolving into leadership. It's difficult to have leadership, but we can have a leadership. As you are heading the department, I am also heading the institution. So whether am I a manager or am I a leader, it all depends on the culture, which he has already mentioned. The culture of the institution or the environment in which we are working. The environment is so important. Though I belong to community medicine, I will say agent, host, and environment. Though agent and host are there, but the most important thing in the fulcrum is environment. If the environment is shifting towards the host will be empowered. So we are all here as a part of this faculty development program to shift the environment or whatever the institutional culture towards academics. And once it is shifted, then naturally there will be a growth. So it is in our hands. We cannot concentrate or we cannot be preoccupied with all the disadvantages. There are not many disadvantages. In any institution, there is lot many disadvantages. I worked for nearly 35 years in a government institution and I had 10 transfers. 10 transfers and I worked in 10 medical colleges. Every college is a new one. Every college has got a different culture. So you have to adopt to that culture. And once you adopt, then you may be able to develop a team. And though it is difficult, so you can imagine in Andhra, there are no transfers, but in Maharashtra, we used to have every 3 years, there is a regular transfer. And if you don't have any MyBop, then immediate transfer to another new medical college. So you have to develop there with whatever facilities are there. So you have to utilize them and then try to do some work. As a manager, we are implementing it, we are looking at it. But if you want to develop a leadership, there are certain areas wherein we have to concentrate. The most important thing is, what are your strengths? And develop those strengths instead of concentrating on your weaknesses. Every time we are concentrating on our weakness. Ye nahi mila, ye nahi mila, ye nahi hai, wo nahi hai. So if you give me this, then I will be able to do this. If you don't give me this, I will not be able to do this. This is what is called a Cinderella approach. This Cinderella approach will never lead you to anywhere. So you have to concentrate on your strength. What are your strengths? What is the strength of the institution? Management is with you. Management is going to help you. And you do the work and then tell the management. And don't try to say that first management has to do something to me, then I will do the work. So you try to do whatever is possible in your area, especially concentrate on your strength. Your strength is postgraduate and super specialists. Your strength is 250 undergraduates. So what you can do with them? What new things you can develop? So I must tell you to those people, when I came here, I heard that there is no learning management system in this institute. And there is a free software that is available as Moodle. We have introduced Moodle. Even the software people doesn't know what is Moodle. And the problem here is when somebody introduces, it has to percolate. The only thing that's my defect, that I am unable to convince the faculty members to use Moodle. When I say something, you try to do this, then one of my departmental head used to write, as per Dean's instructions, I am conducting this. That shows that you are not a team. I am unable to build up a team. So that's my defect. So if you are the head of the department, or if you are in one of the department, try to be a part of the team. As Dr. Raju has already said, you have to be convinced with the idea. If somebody tells you the idea, and if you want to implement it, first convince yourself and be a part of it. Don't try to be a part of it as a formality. There are two words. One is participation, the other one is involvement. I don't want participation, I want involvement. So you, if there is a program, try to get involved in it. Involvement is there should be some kind of contribution from your side to the program. So then only things will move, or else there is a participation, a formality. ये तो family welfare or family adoption program हुआ, maybe saw everything and came back. So we have to develop that. See, anywhere you go, if you leave this institute, anywhere you go, you will be absorbed as professor or head of the department. That's no problem at all. But what is your contribution to the subject or to the institution? When people say institution is bigger, what Venu was talking about, I never say institution is bigger. Institution is not known by buildings or infrastructure. It is known by individuals who are working in it. It is the individual. Institution means it is the individuals, not the buildings. Not Narayana Medical College means so-and-so individuals who are working in it. So it is you. You have to decide. You have to decide where do you want to go? What is the purpose? Your purpose is just to come here and deliver 1 or 2 lectures and go back, or is your purpose is just to examine some 10-15 patients and then give them the standard treatment which is there in the textbooks, and that's the end of it. So you have to get involved and try to develop leadership qualities, and these leadership qualities are useful for you in future. Not only now, it will be useful to you in future. I must thank Dr. Mahidhar and Dr. Venkat, who had explained, and he has arranged Dr. Raju to come over here and explain you. So let this be a motivational one. Let this be a torch bearing, wherein you will be able to find out your ways and means how you can develop it further. So thank you very much, Raju, for explaining us. Thank you.
Please stay back, sir. So I request Venugopal Raju, sir, to accept a memento. Please come, sir. And I request our dean, sir, to felicitate Venugopal Raju with shawl. Tanto memento. See the mask, sir. Next, the shawl, which is a memento. So I request Dr. Sampath Kumar, sir, Professor of Surgery, to hand over the memento to Venugopal Raju, sir. So thank you, sir. So that was a wonderful session. We'll have a 15 minutes tea break. Tea and snacks are arranged outside. After 15 minutes, we'll quickly reassemble for the next session. Thank you. So, welcome you all to this next session. Just to repeat, please keep your phones in silent mode. Another interesting topic. So, for this next session, see in COVID, already we have seen. I think people got used to OTTs. So, a lot of web series you have seen mainly the murder mysteries, where something is hidden which will be unraveled. So, in medical college also, we are teaching curriculum to students, but there is a hidden curriculum which we were teaching without taking a class all these days. We were teaching our subject, but hidden behind that one was a curriculum which we were delivering to our students without our knowledge. So that will be discussed in detail now. So welcome to this post-T session. So we have the speaker for this post-T session, Professor Sushant Kumar Mishra. So, sir has obtained his MBBS degree in 1995 from SCB Medical College, Cuttack, from Utkal University. And he has worked as insurance medical officer from 96 to 97 in the ESI Hospital, Government of Odisha. From 97 to 2000, he has done his MD in community medicine from VSS Medical College, Sambalpur University. And 2000 to 2004, he was lecturer of community medicine, again in VSS Medical College. And he was assistant professor of community medicine in GSL Medical College, Rajahmundry, between 2004 to 5. And he became associate professor in 2006 in GSL Medical College, Rajahmundry. And till date, from 2010, he is professor and head of the Department of Community Medicine, GSL Medical College, Rajahmundry. In 2022, sir has become vice principal. His main field of interest is about infectious diseases, research methodology, disaster management, and medical education. He has got 20 publications in various indexed journals to his credit. And among the plethora of awards he received, he was Fellow of Public Health Field Leader awarded by CDC Atlanta, and he was Fellow of Foundation for Advancement of International Medical Education and Research. He is a FIMER Fellow, and he has done his basic course in medical education and advanced course in medical education. He is a life member of several professional bodies, the International Epidemiological Association and the Indian Association of Preventive and Social Medicine, Indian Public Health Association, Association for Prevention and Control of Rabies in India, Academy of Health Profession Educators, Basic Medical Scientists Association, and Simulation Health Society. He is member Board of Studies for PhD courses, Dr. NTR UHS, and he is a PhD guide in NTR UHS. And he is reviewer of Indian Journal of Public Health, MRIMS Journal of Health Sciences, International Journal of Biological and Medical Research. So, a very profile. Now I request Dr. Sushant Kumar Mishra to give his lecture.
Okay, this is my college, Situational Medical College. It's a photography taken by me because I also take interest in photography also. It's a very popular Gujarati bhajan. Vaishnava janato tene kahiye je peed paraya jane de para dukha upakar kare to ye man avimana na aaye. Gandhi Jayanti is coming in few days, and this is one of the favorite bhajan by Gandhiji used to like it. Can anybody say who is the author? He's a 15th century poet named Narsim Mehta. All those people, Vaishnavas, who feel the pain of others, help those who are in misery, but never let self-conceit enter their mind. So being in medical profession, we often encounter the patient's agony, pain, misery, and it is very essential to understand what they are going through. And that also we need to inculcate to the budding medical graduates. That's again another challenge. So I'll be telling how to uncover the hidden curriculum in medical education. What we are going to discuss in next few 1 hour probably. We'll identify what is hidden curriculum, its importance, how to impact it on the medical education. Then we'll talk a little bit about how it can be measured. And then we'll discuss how this various teaching learning methods can be used to teach the hidden curriculum. And finally, the assessment, how we can assess the and how we can measure the effect of this teaching learning methods. So we all know for learning we need 3 things. One is the curriculum. This is something which is mandated knowledge and practice, and this is every institute, they have their curriculum and they go by the curriculum. Students by end of this many years, they have to go through the curriculum. And second thing is the instruction, the strategies for instruction that we decide, the various teaching learning modalities. And the third important thing is the assessment, that is how the students demonstrate their knowledge and practice in relation to the curriculum standards. That means the standards has to be matched. So these 3 things are important. One is curriculum, instruction, and assessment. Now, if you look at this curriculum, there are 3 types of curriculum which can be visualized. One is the intended curriculum, which often is a planned curriculum. This is a formal curriculum which can focus on the goals, objectives, subject matters, instruction mode of assessment, all these things. The institute formally endorses the planned curriculum, and there are certain unplanned curriculum, we call them enacted curriculum. These are informal, unscripted curriculum. This basically deals with the day-to-day socio-psychological interaction among the students and the learner, teachers. The third type of curriculum is the hidden curriculum, which is unintended curriculum. Now, this is the part of the curriculum which is not written, while certainly being learned by the students, and they are embedded in the organizational structures and culture. So basically, what I mean is the hidden curriculum is something which is unwritten, which is unofficial, which is unintended, which is but it can reinforce the lessons of the formal curriculum, or it can contradict the formal curriculum. The lessons, values, and the These are already embedded, and the students, they develop their own professional identity through this hidden curriculum. Next important thing is, it is being practiced, or it is intended both for the students, the educators, and the wider community. This is applicable, and this is very important. All this curriculum, this hidden curriculum or unstructured curriculum, must align very, very. So let's see how it is started and how it is aligned. There are negative and positive influence of this hidden curriculum, whether it is intentional or non-intentional. The negative wing, the positive wing. That can, it again depends upon how to start it. They differ with the age and gender. It is not differ with the same age. It just has it go further their learning. The hidden curriculum differs depending upon what you are with and what is your role. For example, if you go to the school level, there are certain things which our teachers, they tell discipline. Now, discipline is something which is not covered in a formal manner, but we learn discipline by being virtue of part and parcel of the culture of the school. Dressing up smartly, greeting the teachers, punctuality, discipline, these are all the curriculums which we learn, every year of us we learn in the school level, isn't it? Do you agree with me? Yes or no? Yes. So similarly, can you tell any component of hidden curriculum for our students which we can align in medical college with the medical curriculum? Yes, anybody? Let's come up with some of the components of hidden curriculum. Like school, we already told, sir. Dress code, fine, it's very good. Punctuality, yes. Man and welcome in the campus, okay. So these are all we learned it from school level. But when it comes to the medical college level, when you are coming with the teaching professional, and when we are particularly coming in contact with the patients, being a healthcare professional, what hidden culture I should imbibe within myself? That's my question. Anybody would like to answer this? Communication, yes, very good. Madam? Patience, yes, very good. So these are a few. One is professionalism, one is communication, one is showing empathy, one is ethics, mindfulness. So these are various aspects which we would like to impart in a medical curriculum as a alignment of the hidden curriculum. Am I clear on this? Are you with me? Or anybody wants to add anything? Anybody wants to differ? Fine. So let's go one by one. What is empathy? What do you mean by empathy? Anybody? It's the ability to sense others people's emotions, coupled with the ability to imagine what someone else might be thinking or feeling. So is it same as sympathy? So how empathy and sympathy differs with each other? Is sympathy is same as empathy? No, it is not, definitely. It is not same, but it is one step ahead of sympathy. Now, if any person anywhere think of all these things, like I am at your side, let me try to paraphrase, summarize. So if they imbibe all this, or they often ask themselves, go through all these questions, then we can say reasonably the person is having an adequate empathy, isn't it? So these things which we usually relate ourselves with empathy. Okay. So this is the externally or the subjective appearance of empathy. This is a news article which I saw a few days back, only on 19th September. It came with a headline and said, this says that one top practicing doctor, he is a plastic surgeon in Jodhpur town. Brutally, he chained the dog and dragged the city. So if you do carefully this case study, to me it appears the person being a doctor, I'm not saying any other profession, being a doctor, being a top plastic surgeon, does this person is having empathy, little bit empathy? Definitely not. So this is not done. This is inhuman. So in the spectrum, if you look at the spectrum of empathy, the lowest it comes pity. That means we feel sorry for you. When you feel sorry for you, some other person, it is just a pity. But when we go a little bit higher, that is sympathy. That means I feel for you. And when it goes further, I feel with you. That means I feel for you definitely, but I am moved by what is there. That is at the higher level, that is compassion. So I am feeling for you, I am feeling with you, and I am moved by you. So this is the spectrum of empathy, which starts with pity, sympathy, empathy, and compassion. Am I clear? Now, if you put this compassion little bit in a matrix form, one side it is compassion, the other side it is self-compassion. Then if both are high, then it is called the person is the macho. He can do anything. He can die for this. If the compassion is high, the first one is compassion is high and self-compassion is low. The second one, if the compassion is high and the self-compassion is high, he is the true leader. Dr. Venugopal was telling just now, the leadership quality. And this is what a person having a leadership quality should have: high compassion and high self-compassion. If you go to the low, both compassion and self-compassion, then it's the person is a nihilist. He doesn't endorse anything. He's a negative mentality, a loser in all field. A person having high self-compassion, I'm thinking about myself, and low compassion, is a narcissist. Do you all agree with me? Thank you. Now, why empathy is important? Because what we see is the iceberg. In community medicine, we teach the iceberg phenomena. And what we see here is the body language, expression, behavior, interaction. But what we don't see, that is the submerged portion, is the loss, trauma. So if you think a patient who is having the suffering or loss, you can see all this if you think in deep and you go into the empathy. So that's why empathy is important. If you see otherwise, being in health professionals, are we doing justice enough for the patients? Definitely we have our shortfallings. Why? Because doctor in India see patients barely 2 minutes This is a news article, but there are several studies are there, which says there is another study which say it's a cross-sectional study conducted in medical students in the first to 7 years in one of the medical school in South Iran. It says that the age group who are having more empathy is the early age group. As the age increases, the empathy level decreases. These are among the medical students. The study subjects were the medical students. And similarly, at the basic level, they are more empathetic, slightly more empathetic, but as they go to the clinical level, the empathy level falls. Gender, female are more empathetic. That's obviously by virtue of their genetic makeup, or maybe that's God's gift. I can say they are more empathetic in comparison to female. There are 4 attributes of empathy. One is the perspective taking. That means understanding a concept from an alternate point of view. A patient with whom we are dealing, if we open our ears and eyes for them, that person, then we'll see many perspectives. So an alternative point of view is always important. And second thing is staying out of judgment. So being non-judgmental is another dimension or another attribute of empathy. Third thing, sharing emotion. That means we need to recognize the emotion of the other person. And the fourth is the compassion, which is a higher domain, a strong feeling and understanding of another person's emotion. So these are the 4 attributes of empathy. This is another study which took place in US. It was conducted among 246 US adults by a quota sampling method. And they concluded that average 9 opportunities, people get on an average 9 opportunities to empathize with others. And among these 3 are more important: emotion sharing, perspective taking, and compassion. These are the more dominating attributes. And 3 distinct components, they co-occur. Almost 75% cases, these 3 distinct perspectives, they co-occur, and individually they are very less. You can see 2%, 1%, 2%, this is very less, but they co-occur simultaneously in 75% encounters. That they concluded with that the empathy in everyday life is higher in women and religious people. Now, empathy needs 2 specific skills. One is the perception, understanding of what taking place emotionally, and the ability to communicate your understanding of that to the patient. Now, how to practice this empathy in your day-to-day life? Can you do this? Yes, of course, yes. There are a few things which we can do and we can tell our students to do. That is, listen actively, remain non-judgmental, be understanding, show the empathetic body language, practice mindfulness, ask them open-ended questions so that the persons will be freely talking to you. Make them convinced that you are available for them. You have time for them and you don't get distracted, because it's very easy to get distracted these days. While a clinician and patient encounter, the distraction is a very bad factor which comes easily. Either they get a cell phone, or some medical representatives, they come. So this is a thing which definitely is not acceptable by the patients. Then the healing touch, proximity, trustworthy. These are all which we learn, or perhaps our elder generation, they learned it from their teachers, which was inherent. And in between something happened, we lost all these things in our patient-doctor encounter. That's why it was hidden that time, and now we are advocating to inculcate in our, we can teach them. Now, expressing empathy, we can express it verbally or non-verbally. See, verbally, there are few phrases you can add, like you seem upset. It is an acronym which is giving is nurse, because nurses are the key functionaries who has to deal with the empathy. So naming, understanding, respecting, supporting, and exploring. There are non-verbal cues which should be practiced in empathy. One is eye contact. Again, that again depends upon the cultural cues. Sit down, discuss, so that the message goes that you are available for them, you have time for them. Face to face with the patient, open body posture. I'll tell what is the open body posture. Then lean towards the patient, relaxed without showing any tension. Then at times, touch is very important. In a lighter note, you can say that, is this empathy? Yes, I can say to some extent, but I don't advocate you to do the same, because it is a different level of empathy. Now the question is, how can we measure empathy? If these are the attributes, these are the components of empathy, is there any measurement how we can measure the empathy? Of course, we can measure empathy, but how? There are few things I would like to tell. Empathy has two facets. One is the situational empathy, and second one is the dispositional empathy. Now, the situational empathy is the empathy which we show in specific situations. So, for example, there is a accident we saw in the road. One scenario is created, and then you show certain empathy. We are moved by this patient's distress. You arrange shifting. These are situational empathy. This is measured by empathy mapping. Empathy mapping, I'll discuss a little bit later what is empathy mapping. Here, it is asking the subjects or users about their experience immediately after they were exposed to a particular situation. While asking them, one person should study their facial expression, their vocal indices, their various physiological measures, such as measurement of heart rate, skin conductance. So all this will tell whether the person is empathetic or not. The second type of is that's called dispositional empathy. Here, empathy is understood in persons stable as a person's stable character trait. Here, we can measure it by relying on the reports of others. There are various tools, scales, questionnaires through which we can measure. Now I'll come one by one. First, coming to the empathy mapping. Now, what is this empathy mapping? This is to understand the client's subjects. Suppose a person is going through certain situation. Let's imagine a patient, he got admitted to our hospital. In between, he has experienced series of investigations, procedures, and finally he gets discharged. So now we can ask what is your experience, what is your client perspective. So this is a tool, particularly it's a user experience technique, which aims to put the provider in the user space. How he is relating it to himself. This map will allow you to create a portrait of the user and also helps to solve the particular problems of the product. Here the product is health product. So this is basically used in business, the commercial products, where the manufacturers or the providers, they want to know the customer's experience. But we can use it in our setup where the client is the customer and we are the provider. So how to create this empathy map? You must literally put yourself in the client's shoe by feeling, seeing, hearing what the user do in everyday life. The provider will analyze what emotions the client will feel when receiving the particular service. Does he or he need it? Was it comfortable or not? So the empathy map should show 4 areas. One is expression, thought, actions, and emotions. So this is the quadrants, different quadrants. One is what the person says. What can the user's family and friends say if the client uses our service? What is the user's pain or fear when using the service? What does the user feel? What is the experience? And what the users can do when using our services? So says, thinks, does, and feels. You can portray it in a map and you will get varied response if you put it in front of your client. This is called the empathy map canvas. Here, what the see, say, do, hear, and the pains and gains, and who are we empathizing with, and what do we need to do. This is a very useful tool which can be used to know the user's perspective in an empathy canvas. So empathy has two components. One is cognitive, one is affective. Cognitive is the accurate perception of the emotional state of another, and affective deals with the ability to infer and recognize the emotions of others. Now, the people who are having high levels of empathy can easily recognize the emotions of others and experience the emotions. So this is the principle, and on this principle, we have certain scales which can measure the dispositional empathy. These are various scales are available. This is called Perth empathy scale. It is a 20-item self-report measure of empathy, which is designed to assess both cognitive and affective components of empathy and across negative and positive emotions. It has 4 sub-skills, 3 composite scores, and it can be derived from the measure with higher scores, indicating higher levels of empathy. If the score is high, it indicates higher level of empathy. So these are the sub-skills. So there are items which need to be clubbed together, and say for example 1, 5, 9, 13, 17, it indicates the negative cognitive empathy. Similarly, positive affective empathy 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So these are all different sections can be clubbed together and the empathy can be measured. These are the various interpretations. 1 standard deviation or more above the mean is a high level of mean empathy, whereas less than that is average, and below 1 standard is a low level empathy. There is another score which is called Toronto Empathy Questionnaire. This is also a 16 questions, 5-point rating scale, which says never, rarely, sometimes, often, always, and the person, it's a self-rating score. There are 16 questions, and the users, they can go through these questions and they can rate themselves. This is more widely used, called Jefferson's empathy scale. This is a scale which is we need to take permission from them to use it. Mostly in the healthcare workers, we use this Jefferson scale, and these are the scoring algorithms. There are it is also composite scoring. This thing, there are Likert weights are there. From strongly agree, agree, all this, and there are 20 items, and the respondents must answer minimum 80%, 16 items. This is used mostly for healthcare setups, medical students, nursing students, doctors, we can use it. This is a version which we can say it's a medical student version. There are student version, so there are other versions also are available. So this is one side and one facet of this hidden curriculum, that is empathy. Next is coming to communication. The communication is very important. It's a process of meaningful interaction among human beings. Most successful healthcare professionals are those who have good communication skills. You may have the degree, but if you don't have the good communication skill, then your degree is meaningless, because you can't attract the patient, you can't give justice to the patient. Only one reason why the quacks are doing good practice, because they are available, they do good communication with the patient. And that's where we doctors often fail. Communication is very, very important to build the relationship. It reduces the anxiety and distress of the patient. It improves willingness to engage. It helps in ice breaking between the doctor and patient, and it also helps establishing a rapport. There are few studies where we say, this is the report which is extracted from the Harvard Medical Institute Risk Management Foundation, and it says that the communication failures occur in different setups, say 38% in general medicine cases, 32% in nursing cases, 26% in surgery cases. Doctors who can't communicate are more likely to end up in the court of law. And these days, the increasing number of the conflicts between a doctor and patient, that sufficiently indicates there is a communication failure. Patients, they prefer a person who need to introduce themselves, who are empathetic, who appear to be self-confident in their dress-ups, in their talking, a person who is willing to listen to them, they respond to the verbal cues and other aspects. So that is very, very essential. And communications, again, the length of communication is very important. Now, how long before a doctor interrupts a patient? We often interrupt the patient when they come and talk to us. We can blame it to the system, that we are over crowded in the OP, we are our manpower is less, so there are n number of causes. But the bottom line is, doctors, they don't have time to communicate with the patient. And the moment the patient starts communicating, we interrupt somewhere there. There are few studies on this. There was a clinical encounter which was recorded of 112 patients, where the doctors videotaped in various US clinic, and they found that on an average 11 seconds to explain, the patients get only 11 seconds to explain their problem, why they have come to the doctors, and if it is a tertiary or secondary case, they get a little bit more time, that is 92 seconds. So in a primary setup, we can say that more number of patients will be there, more crowded will be the OP, so hardly a patient gets 11 seconds to tell his problem to the doctor. So that is the pathetic situation of our OPs. Only 1 in 3 doctors provide their patient with adequate opportunity to describe their situation. And the conclusion of this study is that doctor talk more and listen less. Another study where there was an exit interview to assess the physician understanding. They audio taped a convenient sample of 70 encounters and surveyed both parties following the visit in a community-based ambulatory clinic. And they found there that 26% of visits, the patients were allowed to complete their agenda without interruptions. Only in 26% visits. And in 37% of the physicians interrupted, 37% no inquiry was there why the patient has come. So that indicates itself that a pathetic situation in a doctor-patient encounter. And this is very much happening in our country also. These are the studies abroad. And this is also happening in our country. There are many other studies. And here is another study. The 21 physicians, they take 11 transcripts, 12 videotaped primary healthcare office. The patients seldom verbalize their emotions directly and spontaneously. Whenever they started dropping an emotional cues, the doctors, they switch over to a professional talk rather than some emotional talk. So technical talk dominates the conversation. Whatever the conversation is dominated by the technical talk. So therefore, in a communication setting, it is very important to talk both verbal and non-verbal communication. To have verbal and non-verbal communications. And again, this verbal communication is of 3 types. One is assertive. The assertive is something which is you communicate the patient with adequate respect, understanding, and is a problem solving. So it is definitely it is a good communication skill. There are other communications like passive communication. That means here the person will have a little eye contact, there will be a quiet tone. So here the patient won't be very much convinced. He will appear less confident. The doctor will appear less confident. And there is another type of communication where it is called aggressive communication. This is something which is manipulative, dominating, and it is controlling. Sometimes it may end up with violence. So among the 3 types of communication, assertive communication is the best one. Do you agree? All of you agree? Yes. Then there are non-verbal communications. As per Judy Morgan, there are various elements like paralanguage, chronemics, kinesics, environment, silence, proxemics, haptics. So these are the various non-verbal communications we encounter in our day-to-day. It is important to have both. And in fact, I can say that the non-verbal communication dominates the majority part rather than the verbal communication. A combined harmony of verbal and non-verbal communication is the most important thing which we need to deliver in our communication. Now, if you look at the face, simply you dissect the face. There are so many muscles in the face, isn't it? We know. And through facial expression, we can communicate a lot of things. There are frowning, tension. We can know the other person is relaxed, tensed, is angry, is happy. So many expressions we can read through the face. Similarly, to the postures, simply by various postures, we can say the patient or a doctor how the proximity matters, or how whether the person is confident or is relaxed or is restless. So all these things can be described by the postures. So these are all various postures through which we can read the body language of a person. And that's what you might have observed during when the two country heads meet. Modi goes and meet Biden. Then there will be a set of people, experts will be sitting in the TV studio to read the body language, isn't it? Who is more confident, whether the talk is successful or not. So they are the experts, they will read the body language, how the two heads are exchanging their thoughts and deliberations. There are negative gestures. Now, what are the negative gestures? And we must avoid these negative gestures, like pointing at people is a simple and negative gesture. Fiddling with some material, like you are holding a key or you are holding something, fiddling with some object is a negative gesture. That indicates that you are not interested. Dragging feet indicates the person is lethargic. Head down is timidity. Drooping shoulders, lethargic, person is not interested. Weak handshake is ineffectual personality. Shifty eyes, nervousness. Arms crossed, again the chest is defensive. So similarly, many other negative gestures are there, which we must avoid, identify, and we must avoid when we are doing a communication strategy, and we need to incorporate, tell our students also. There are vocal fillers, that's also important. Now, what are all these vocal fillers? When the speaker needs a moment to think, but is not comfortable with the silence. What I will tell next, I have to think. It is an extemporate. I'm not just mugging up and I'm not telling in front of you. So for that, I need to think for a moment, but to find those words, I need some time. But I am not simultaneously, I'm not comfortable with silence. So for example, we can cut down them by allowing ourselves time to think before responding mid-thought. So these are the filler sounds like oh, hum. So all this, there are phrases, filler phrases, they are filler sentences also, words also. So this we use very frequently. They are called vocal fillers. Then another important thing is the proximity. In a communication, the proximity is important. The proximity is the distance people maintain between themselves while talking. There are intimate space, mother and baby is about 18 inches. Personal space about 18 inches to 4 feet. So for example, casual and personal conversations, two friends, they are talking. There are social space like business social gatherings about 4 to 12 feet. And there are public spaces more than 12 feet. And we are very much familiar with this proximity. During COVID times, 2 gaj ki duri hai zaruri. So that's why we avoided this proximity, and that's what was important during the COVID times. So space and distance is an indicator of intimacy and also as an indicator of status. Then another trait of communication is the listening skill. Now, active listening. So what is active listening? And what is the difference between listening and hearing? Hearing is just a thing which we, anytime it comes to our ear, it's a hearing. It is a physical, it is not physical. But listening is something which is intellectual. Hearing is just physical. Your ears are on. Often my wife tells me something and I just hear and go. Then he will come and ask me, did you listen? That's what happens. So hearing is physical, but listening is something which is called intellectual, which needs active thinking and analyzing. And that listening has some important aspects. One is you need to be attentive. You need to ask open-ended questions, probing questions, clarification, paraphrase, that means repeat what was the last sentence. and reflect what we tell and summarize. So these are the various traits of 7 key active listening skills, and these are important. We need to listen actively. Then what are the communication challenges in healthcare? So if these are the traits we know in communication, then what are the communication challenges we face? In my opinion, in healthcare setup, we feel the maximum communication challenges because we need to deal with the patient who is aggrieved, and at times we need to do unpleasant things. Say, for example, we need to respond difficult patients, difficult families. We need to break the bad news to patients. We need to handle the request for unwarranted treatments, discuss death and end of life care with the patients. We need to manage front office, registration counter, busy OPD. So these are all these difficult communication situations which we face. There is a definitely emotional toll, and 66% people, they feel they are stressed and anxious if they know that there is a difficult communication which is coming up. Bad news is something where the common denominator is the message which has the potential to shatter the hopes leading to a very different lifestyle. We are all the persons settle somewhere. But if something is told to you which has a potential to disturb everything, then it's definitely a bad news for us. So for a patient, feeling of no hope, there is a threat to individuals' physical and mental well-being, risk of upsetting the established lifestyle, and a message given which implies the person has very few choices in his life. So these are all the bad news for a patient. So these are all life-threatening diseases like cancer, chronic diseases, degenerative diseases, patient with HIV, mental retarded children. We need to declare to the parents that your child is mentally retarded, or couple who are told that you will be infertile. So these are various bad news which we encounter. But the question is, can we hide this? As a healthcare professional, as a caregiver, can we hide all this from the patient? Definitely no. Because patient has certain rights, right to get accurate information. Whether they receive the bad news or not, it's their choice. They must decide how much information they should receive, and they should also decide who will be there in that consultation. Why it is difficult? Because it is difficult for the patient to hear, and also it is difficult for the person who is giving the bad news. For both of them it is difficult. Doing it wrongly, it ends up with legal and emotional issues. So it has to be with verbal and non-verbal cues. It's never a pleasant task, and people have varied response to a bad news, like denial, anger, helplessness, blame, misinterpreting the information. So a series of emotional response will be shown. So there is this protocol designed by Buckman. We call it a spikes protocol to declare the bad news or to deliver the bad news. Now this spikes protocol goes like this. First S stands for setting up the interview. You need to create a setup for this interview. It's not just like you on the corridor, you meet the person and tell that you have a cancer. No, it needs a proper setup. Then you assess the patient's perception. How much does he know about the condition? How much he knows about this issue, particular issue? Obtain patient's invitation, whom he wants besides him, knowledge and information to the patients, preferably in chunks, small chunks, rather than telling the whole thing at a time. See their reaction, address the patient's emotions with empathetic response, and then you set up a strategy to summarize it to patient and what are the subsequent course of action. Whether if it is HIV patient, then he has to be linked with the ART center or Positive People's Network. So like that. So this is called SPIKES protocol given by Buckman, and this is very popular and it is being used in healthcare setups, which we need to impart to our medical students in a hidden curriculum. Then another important thing is public speaking. Recently in our college, we conducted one workshop where we exposed our students how to speak publicly. When I say publicly, there are various platforms. As a doctor, we need to inform the patients or the public about the particular issue, to inspire, to convince, to persuade. So these are the very few situations where we need to have a interaction with the public. Now, at times, we need to give a press conference, address the public. We had a workshop recently, I think last month, where we exposed our students. We call media house people, a dummy press conference where two groups of students, there was assessors from the media house, some people with whom we are in contact, they came. A particular issue was pre-decided and the students enacted as if they are giving a press conference, and this media people, they asked questions. So very innovative. Where the purpose is important, timing is important, content is important, where we conduct the press conference is important. The length, we all told about this, about the press kit which they need to provide and the practice they need to do. Then other areas also we conducted workshop. In the same workshop, we also conducted the difficult communications like giving a health talk. Again, the setting, subject matter, language, visual aids, do's and don'ts in a health talk. Then releasing a press note, the different parts of a press note. That also we told them to understand how the press note goes. When it goes to a public in various situations, we have seen in COVID, every day the press note was coming with the statistics. The other aspect is ethics. Ethics is a set of philosophical beliefs and practices which are concerned with distinction between right and wrong, and that guides the decision making of healthcare professionals in their day-to-day practice. There are four aspects or four pillars of ethics. One is autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice. We all teach them in our EdCom classes, all this. But something which is important here is to inculcate what is ethics. Then professionalism. It is very essential for the healthcare professionals, particularly caregivers who serve the interest of the patient and community above his self-respect. There are various components of professionalism like altruism, where the person needs to do the best interest of the patient above the self-interest. Then accountability for the patient, society, and profession, how it is important for the medical student. Then excellence in profession, as the various components which are mentioned in the Indian medical graduate, he is a lifelong learner. Then duty with commitment and sincerity, maintaining the honor and dignity of the profession, and being respectful towards the patients, their attendants, their families, your professional colleagues, So all this also can be inculcated in the hidden curriculum. Now the question is how to uncover the hidden curriculum. These are few of the hidden curriculum. There are many other aspects are also there. Uncovering the hidden curriculum is very important, and imparting it to the medical students is also important. All these 5 which I discussed, these are important, and that we do regularly in our medical college. We go with the students and we do all these 5 from time to time, starting from the 2019 CBME batch. As teachers, we are the role models of our students. Our attitude gives direct impact on their attitudes. So they, maximum time they learn by seeing us. And that's what we also did. There are certain role models as teachers, and we still appreciate them. So we need to avoid, first, we need to practice ourselves. We need to avoid any such body language or facial expression which has embedded sarcasm, betray, distrust, dislike, disrespect. So all this we should not do. There are various methodology, teaching learning methodology we do in our college, like small group teachings, interactive lectures, role plays, cinema education, case studies, and the practice on standardized patients. We conduct workshops on empathy and communications. In empathy workshop, we teach what is empathy, the spectrum of empathy, starting from pity to compassion, the communication, empathetic communications, then medical ethics. We also teach professionalism, team building, spending time with patients, importance of body language in touch, breaking a bad news, how to break a bad news with using a spike protocol, then other difficult communications, and practicing mindfulness. At the beginning, we conduct a pre-test scoring of the participants, students, and this is our small group discussion room, medical education room, where we can see in the behind there are pictures. These are permanent, which reflect the empathy, patient care, professionalism, etc. It's very carefully designed, and that gives the setup for training, perfect training. Then we do empathy mapping, where we ask our students to prepare a map, giving them scenarios, situations. Didactic lectures on empathy, communication, professionalism, ethics. Here you can see the background. So didactic lectures, we choose a small group, about 20 to 30, and that's where we can do a lot of interactions. Then team building exercises we conduct. This is a very interesting exercise where we ask them to cross the river. I don't know how many of you have experienced it. It's very interesting, and students, they like it. We give them small boats and we ask them to cross the river, imagining the floor as a river. The small cardboard pieces will be given as a boats, and there are some do's and don'ts. There will be obstacles, and it is very interesting, very funny, and simultaneously we make them understand what are the aspects of team building, forming, storming, performing, all these things, you know. Then the small group interaction, group dynamics we teach. Then we conduct the student activities. Now in the student activities, again, which is important is a trust walk. This is very important when we particularly teach to enter in other person's shoes. That means empathy. So what is this trust walk? Here we select or we ask them to participate. Two groups. One group will stand in the front. The other group will stand behind. There will be blindfolded. The front row will be blindfolded. And they will be asked to walk. How? At the beginning, they will be asked to, the person who will be standing behind, they will give the direction, left, right. So only direction by mouth. So vocal directions, straight, left, right. That is the first step. And we will come back to the point. They will be going in zigzag fashion, various obstacles will be there. So it is a pair activity, and one pair will come to the front, then we'll have it. The second part, there will be role reversal. The person who will be behind, they will go to the front. And here, the next time, we'll ask them to touch it. No verbal communication, only touch. Left means there will be one tap in the left shoulder, right means one tap in the right shoulder, middle. So like that. Then third exercise, both touch and vocal. So by that, we'll tell the students which one you feel is better. They first-hand experience the importance of touch, and that you can relate it in the patient care setup. This is what we conduct this activity regularly for our medical students. And they go in a various pattern manner. And at the end, we ask these questions. Did you have any difficulty trusting your partner while blindfolded? Yes. It was very difficult or not? How easy or how difficult it was to follow the instructions verbally from your partner? How easy or how difficult it was to follow the instruction from non-verbally from your partner? And what made the difference? So they will reflect themselves. So that is a very good exercise which we conduct. Then we also conduct the small group activities. In the small group activities, we ask them to do the case studies also and have a think, pair, share, or maybe depending upon the situation, a small group where they discuss the case scenarios among themselves. They prepare their scenarios themselves. Then there are role play. Initially, we demonstrate them how to do the role play, and subsequently the students, they practice the role play. We give them a scenario, and they themselves they prepare the scenario and they enact the scenario. So, for example, this is the family says, "Do not tell mom that she has pancreatic cancer because the news will be devastating." It's on breaking the bad news. So how they will react? Then different case scenarios. And how to train these healthcare workers to face difficult situations, like communication skill workshop, learning sessions on verbal and non-verbal communications, importance of body language, practicing mindfulness, peer instruction, mentoring, and training with the standard equations. These are the methodologies which we adopt. Right. There is another exercise where we do communication about the speaker and the listener. Now here we ask two volunteers to come here. At the first, we ask them to communicate among themselves, but the condition is they won't use their hands or any verbal. So they just communicate. They will talk on some movie or some aspects, but we strictly say them to one person, not to. They will be mask faced and they won't use any hand gesture. Second session, role reversal, where the person will hyper communicate. That means they will go and do more than what is required. The hand movements, body movements, facial expression. Then we ask the audience, what's the difference? We ask the persons to reflect upon how they feel it, whether it is justified. So that to imbibe what is the adequate combination of verbal and non-verbal communication. So very good, useful. So we ask the students to reflect upon, and at the end we demonstrate by having adequate combination. Then the body language. Again, different postures. It's important. We give them scenario like you do this, you do this, you do this, do this, do this. So various scenarios will be given to them, and we ask them to practice this, and others will reflect what they are doing. They will think what they are doing. The audience will be judging what they are doing. So this is how we will do. You can see me here. This is a picture which is taken from my FIMER classes, FIMER fellowship workshops. Then we also do cinema education. Various issues related to empathy and communication. This is on bad communication. Good example. Breaking the bad news. Good example and bad example. We show side by side both the these things and ask the students to reflect on which one is good and why it is good. If it is bad, then why it is bad. Then there are debriefing sessions after each of these things. And if the after the case discussions, students enact the role play, and after that we conduct a debriefing sessions for them. Then we also tell them how to build the rapport with various exercises like support, partnership, reflections, respect. Then the communications, the 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐭𝐚𝐜𝐭 consensus statement. This is a statement which is developed by 21 North American leaders in 1999. And these are the components of this. There are 7 components. Build the doctor-patient relationship, open the discussions, gather information, understand the patient's perspective, share information, and reach agreement on problems and plans, and provide a closure. This is a very popular statement which will be imparted to the students in their activities, and we tell them to enact all these components. They need to include and they need to play the role, giving them scenarios. Then practicing mindfulness, that also we conduct. There are various techniques. Some we call the yoga teacher also to have a small session on how to conduct the mindfulness. We have a permanent yoga teacher in our roles since the first MBBS foundation course mandates it. So a permanent yoga teacher is there in our roles, and diploma yoga is also a course which is offered in our institute. So the yoga teacher comes and helps giving this focus on the breathing and practicing the mindfulness also. Then the professionalism, how to get out of our comfort zone and be aligned with the patient's problems. So that also we teach with our students doing various exercises. And the case scenarios like on ethics, then we ask them to reflect upon. We prepare the sessions in following line. One is scenarios, vignettes. Then we sensitize the standardized patients. We have few standardized patients. Morning I was discussing with sir how we are going with the standardized patients. If not in very big number, but at least 8 to 10 standardized patients we have, and we regularly use them in conducting the workshops. If not a regular teaching program that we are trying now, but regular workshops, they come and they are trained by us. They are already have some basic background with drama and theater, so they come and help us. Workshop area accommodating 20 learners. Then we cater for the didactic lectures, role play, practice spikes, protocols for all learners. Do the video recording to reflect it later on for the case scenarios. Then debrief after every session, and then we also do assessment by OSCE and with standardized patients and checklists. So quantitatively, we assess self-assessment by empathy core score, patient questionnaire, OSCE with standardized patients, checklists, the spike checklists are there, 𝐂𝐸𝐽 consensus, that is checklists are there. So with all these checklists, we conduct the quantitative assessment. Then also multi-source feedback, what we call is a 360-degree feedback. Then quantitatively, as I told you, empathy mapping is a qualitative assessment, where we qualitatively assess the feelings and experience. Then exit interview, reflection, FGD. So these are all these qualitative assessments which we do for our students. I'll just show a few pictures how you do it. He is a standardized patient. The scenario goes like this. This person, we give the scenario that this person is going for amputation. He is having a gangrene. This person comes with a bandage. He is having a gangrene, and he has to undergo amputation to save his limbs. Now the student has to disclose this to him, and that's how we judge through the checklist how he will do. Like that, several this person is having a pulmonary tuberculosis. So these are, I'll show you video possible. I mean, you just see how perfectly they are.
వచ్చినప్పుడు అది టెస్ట్ రిజల్ట్స్ వచ్చాయి. అది
Already crying.
మీరు అంత బాధగా ఉన్నారు.
His wife is having breast cancer, and sorry, his wife is having end stage. So we need to declare that we are supporting the withdrawal. Withdrawing the support. So then this actors, they show their range of emotions to impress the students how real, I mean, to create a real life scenario. So we bring them in wheelchair, stretchers, and all these things. Let's move out like. Yeah. So this is our simulation lab where we conduct all this activity attached to this medical education unit. And you can see here checklist is there. Students is interacting with the patient and is being assessed by the experts. Also, patient is in a wheelchair. So the various interactions which we conduct with standardized patients. Then this is the checklist through which we assess breaking badness spike protocol with all these parameters like SPI, KE, S. Then other assessment tools for this communication, that is KCS, 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐭𝐚𝐜 consensus statement assessment tools. There are various checklists. One is one 𝐂𝐨𝐽 essential elements. Then adapted version is there. Then the most widely used for the in the healthcare setup, that is the gap 𝐂𝐨𝐽. Now this gap 𝐂𝐨𝐽, there are various versions: clinicians, faculty, patient, peer facilitator, assessment facilities. This is the one which is usually used for undergraduate students, graduates and postgraduate students in medical education. And this is a very helpful one. There are 7 core communication competencies and 24 sub competencies which are assessed through this score tool. The learning performance is rated on the competency and sub competency. Then there are Likert scale which is used, and this is multi-rater. You can see here this is the gap 𝐂𝐨𝐽. So for clinicians and faculty, there are Likert scale is there, and with this there are various checklists will be there. Then we take the students' reflections. We conduct a focus group discussion to know the students' perspective. Qualitatively, we assess the students' perspective about the workshop, how we do it, and what is their intake on this whole process of hidden curriculum exposure. Then this is how we conduct a small group interactions. And then we assess our program workshop, evaluate our workshop with this practice model of evaluation. There are 5 levels, starting from the reaction level 4 results. Then whether the learners enjoy the training or not, there is the reaction. Then whether there is any transfer of knowledge which occurred or not, and the behavior change, that is the impact, and the whether it influenced the performance or not. So these are the various levels we conduct the assessment of the program. It's a very popular model to assess evaluate the program. So the take-home message I want to communicate is the hidden curriculum is as important as a formal communication, and it is also essential. It is essential because in a modern day where we are struggling to communicate, even formal communication, our hidden communication, our hidden curriculum is very, very essential. We can explore, we can impart, and we can assess the hidden curriculum of our Indian medical graduates through various techniques. Thank you. My acknowledgement to my faculty in medical education unit and my principal in Dispositional Medical College, because with their help we conduct all these programs with their support. And at the end, I thank you all for a patient hearing.
Anything you want to elaborate, anything you need to add, or
I'll be happy to answer few of your queries. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So very good question. Our skill lab is now almost 10 years old, and we started our skill lab much before the NMC mandated a skill lab in all the colleges, and gradually it is being expanded. And what we do is now the present practice is all the departments, there are skill champions. We identify few people who are skill champions, and those people we ask them to prepare every department, some active members, we identify them. As per the NMC curriculum, various departments, there are skills which are specified. Now these people, they identify the skills which are required for that department, concerned department, and now they give it to the centrally. Our skill lab is now is a separate unit. There are dedicated staff who are handling the skill lab. One of them, the person who is manager of skill lab is the fiber trained person also, and they come directly under the medical education supervision. So now, if once each department they give the skills, different skills, then we assessed what are the requirements, how many or what frequently the students will come. So centrally we prepared a timetable. So say for example, Monday, this department will come with this many students. Again, we can't put a 50, 60 people at a time. So we have our limitations. So maybe 20, 30 people, one batch will come. They will come in the morning, another batch will come in the other time. So we divide them, and department wise it is allotted. So they come in their time, and they impart the skills. Mostly other departments like physiology, pharmacology, where we don't have much requirement of the skill lab, some mannequins are provided in their departments where they conduct the skill trainings in their department itself. But other departments like surgery, gynecology, we have the Lucina and high fidelity mannequins are also there. So they come in batches and they do the skill training. For PGs, we have separate timings also are there for postgraduates also. There are some difficulties in allotting time, but we are trying to sort it out with the meetings, and some planned activities doesn't happen also sometimes. So that also we try to finish it, but it's a doable project thing. I request all of you to go come and visit our skill lab. This is one of the best in Asia, and you can just see the skill lab in your YouTube link, simulation lab GSL Medical College. You just put it, you will find it YouTube videos pertaining to our skill labs. Thank you, sir. Any other question?
I request our team, sir, to give his insights on this soft.
At the outset, thank Sushant, who had come all the way from GSL to speak about hidden curriculum. Madam, can I have your attention? The problem with us is we don't realize what is the importance of hidden curriculum. And due to that, we face many problems which are hindering the actual explicit curriculum implementation. We have students who are not disciplined, who are not listening to us either in the classroom or outside the classroom. So that is hindering the actual implementation of explicit curriculum. So unless this is the platform on which we have to build up the actual implementation of the actual curriculum. The problem here is that all of us are trained in the traditional methods and we have to change now. And this change is not an instantaneous change. We cannot transform from the traditional one to the new one, wherein the actual pedagogy under which we have been trained have to change into andragogy, wherein we have to realize and consider students are adults and we are teaching the adults, not children. The pedagogy is the word which we used to listen when we were appearing for examination. Or that pedagogy is a word which is limited to children, not for adults. We are dealing with adults. And when we are dealing with the adults, we have to change the way we teach them. But we are not changing that. These same old methods we are adopting. And secondly, we are obsessed with course completion. Course completion. Course complete hona chahiye before the deadline. And 1 month before the final exam, we have to give them leave because they have to study. We are underestimating the self-directed learning. The self-directed learning we are underestimating, and we are obsessed with that we have to teach them whatever curriculum has been prescribed by NMC or the university. When we talk about hidden curriculum, Mishraji has explained how much time they are spending in imparting this hidden curriculum. All these experiments, there have been many experiments. I can tell you in ACME, right from the day they started this ACME, and before that there is advanced course on medical education, I can tell you innumerable experiments of various modalities of teaching hidden curriculum or teaching the actual curriculum. Everybody wants to say that I have developed this method and it is highly useful. So there are many methods which have been documented and submitted as a part of ACME or FAMR, but unless the university incorporates them in the examination, these are of no use. We are unable to impress upon the students that this is an important part of their education. What is education? Education is we wanted to change their behavior. It is not simply filling up the knowledge. If it is simply filling up the knowledge, you implant a chip which is filled with all data and implant it here. Finish. That's the end of it. That's education. That is not. Education is what is the ideal behavior, and the individual should change to the ideal behavior. For that, hidden curriculum is an important component. Whereas we are completely neglecting. We are finding no time. There is no time to implement this. Like Daksa was telling that he belongs to the old school of thought. The present school is that we must spend some time with the students, consider their views, and then make them realize it is not all the time work, 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 or study, 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 that there should be a fun-filled study. So we have to adopt different methods by which we can impart what we wanted to do. Like animal trainers, you must have seen. When we go to circus, we will see that animals are doing excellent work. They are jumping here and there. They are walking on 2 feet instead of 4 feet. All these things are being done by animals. Animals are being trained to do such things. After doing everything, they are being given a gift. So they have been encouraged to do such things. So we also should encourage our students to do certain things so that they will be gifted or that they will be encouraged to do certain activities. And this hidden curriculum is highly important for us. We should start right from day one. Though we say that at COM, there should be one short notes in every paper. NTR University completely neglected it. I have not seen AdCom in any of these papers, university papers. And when NMC says 20% should be objective type, NTR University decides only 10%. So it's all something which has been studied in depth and NMC has recommended. But NTR University, unless it is incorporated as a part of examination, we will not be able to impart this hidden curriculum. Like we will be asking the students to examine a case. So whether the case examination is according to the checklist, which consists of hidden as well as explicit, we are not doing that. Unless you implement it, it's of no use. It's only limit to certain groups and doing that. The GSL lab is an excellent one. It's, they have invested crores of rupees in it, whereas other medical colleges cannot invest. I am part of one of the finest simulation labs in India, in D.Y. Patil, Maharashtra, in Mumbai. We have the excellent lab. So at least 20 years back, we had HPS. But such kind of labs will not be able to impart what we want. Even simple as small room is enough to impart these hidden curriculum skills. We have a skill lab. How many of you are utilizing those skill labs? There is enough space to impart communication skills. There's enough space to impart how to give an intramuscular injection, how to give an intravenous injection. Even simple things we are not doing it. How to conduct a normal delivery. We have mannequins. These are simple, which doesn't require crores of rupees of investment. So we have to realize, first of all, the faculty should realize that what are the things students should know instead of blaming them. Ye batch bahut hi kharab hai. They are not listening. They are notorious. They are not listening to me. Why they are not listening? What is the reason? Is it all the students are not listening or some students are not listening? मेरे class में students mobile देखते हैं. Why they are looking? Why they are watching videos? Find out the reason. There should be some reason. Like you are all experienced, you came here and then listening to me, whatever I say, blah, blah, blah. And why your students are not listening to you? Find out the reasons. Is it something connected with hidden curriculum? So we have to emphasize that we are not only teachers, we are mentors for them. So we have to change. We have to initiate change in them. Though the greatest drawback for all these activities is 250 students. 250 students in one classroom is like a public meeting, but not like a lecture hall. So when I suggested that you divide them into 2 batches and then teach them, then they say workload बढ़ जाता है. So unless what we want is, we want the students to change their behavior, and our intention is that they should learn part of AdCom module. If you want to impart that, we have to divide them. You cannot teach all these skills to 250. You have to divide them. You have to divide them into smaller groups and then try to impart. So it all depends on us. Where there is a will, there is a way. So I think Mishra ji has explained us what they are doing at GSL. They are doing excellent work. praiseworthy work they are doing at the GSL, and we can learn from them. We can learn, we can improvise over what they are doing, and we can show to other medical colleges that in Narayana we are doing this. And I tell you, we were the first to conduct standardized patients workshop, but we are not taking it forward. So each one of you, please remember that you have a role. You have a role as a parent, as a mentor, as a teacher. So we have to implement the important things, especially the hidden curriculum, so that our students, when they go out, they should behave like a good citizen. I still remember 1997 when MCI has released a document. They never said that medical student should be excellent physician and he should be an excellent surgeon like that. They only said that the medical student should be a good citizen of India. That's the basic thing. Then comes whether he is a good doctor, good surgeon, good gynecologist. He should be a good citizen. So in order to do that, we have to work hard. We have to work hard. We have to devise our own ways and means of doing it. So I thank Mishra ji for elaborating all the methods which they are using. Excellent, sir. Very nice of you. Thank you very much.
When we sort of told about a good doctor or professional, we always tell what to avoid. I mean, how to be a good professional. There is a in a lighter note, I would like to say that there is A, B, C, D, E, which we should not do. Being a good professional. What is A, B, C, D, E? First, A is avoid patient. So what we do when the patient comes, we see from the distance, the person will go for tea. So that is where we avoid the patient. Second thing is B. B means what's B? That what exactly the patient comes, we divert them. So that means the person will be going for the battery of tests he will go through. So the patient somehow will reach, he'll catch hold of you. Then we send them for the. So we send them. So third thing is C. C here the person will be going. Forensic medicine specialist for the fire and when I came around 6 years back, what is that name? Forensic medicine, sir. Subramanian was there, and suddenly he recognized me and came to me and asked whether are you Dr. 𝐂𝐭 Mishra's son? Oh, he recognized me and I asked me. I said, you just come with me. But to his department, when I reached the department, my father's photo was there, so I went to the surprise for him. But Director of Medical Education. And till his last days, he was with me. And other people I know.
So now I request our Dean sir to felicitate Dr. Sushant Mishra with a shawl. So I think better to stand in front of your father's photograph. So I request our radiology professor and HOD, Ramakrishna Barwa sir, to felicitate Dr. Mishra with a shield. So thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable talk. So looking forward for more such talks from you. Thank you, sir. And for faculty, see, today afternoon, 2:30 already we have circulated. So there is a workshop for PGs regarding thesis data collection. I think the circular was sent to all the head of the departments. To send your PGs, it's mandatory, attendance will be taken. So once you go back to your department, please send your PGs for today's program. 2:30 Grace Lecture Gallery. The faculty who are interested also can please join that one. And one more thing, faculty who have come for this FDP, this Thursday, 3 to 4 p.m. in the same Manthan Hall, the Elsevier company, so you know about Elsevier, they are coming with the software Clinical Key. So this particular Clinical Key is a software which helps you it aids you in resource, and also it helps you in assessing your students. So like a textbook, it's a resource for you, it helps you in assessment. So that particular software, the concerned person will come and he will display the software, and those who attend that 3 to 4 session will be giving free access to that software for 1 week, where you can check it. If you like that one, you can recommend to your students and the co-faculty. So please join. Those who have come to this workshop, I request you to come for the 3 to 4 p.m. Thursday, the same session. If you are busy that particular time, in place of you can send some other person from your department. So the same will be informed to the head of the department through a circular today. Thank you. Thank you.